Sometimes you just have to ask yourself, am I a hypocrite? Once upon a time, someone was talking about Harry Potter and they asked, would you watch a movie about so-and-so? But I replied that they could make a movie about Mrs. Norris the cat and I would still watch it. The problem is, they did make movies about other characters in the wizarding world. We were introduced to Newt Scamander and his Fantastic Beasts, but I don't know, it just did not have the impact that I thought it would. So here's the question for the week. Are the Fantastic Beasts films hurting the legacy of Harry Potter? Well, let's get into it. First, let's talk about what's good about the Fantastic Beasts films. One of the best things the movies have going for them is that they cast Eddie Redmayne as Newt Scamander. Eddie Redmayne's portrayal of Newt was charming, and he brought a unique balance of social awkwardness, shyness, and bravery. His soft-spoken nature, subtle mannerisms immediately endeared the audience to Newt. Getting the character right is so underrated. The plot of a story is an enormous factor in whether a movie is successful or not. But if the characters are unlikable, unmemorable, or uninteresting, no one's going to give a fig what happens to them. The second thing that the Fantastic Beasts movies got right is that they started to answer questions people had from the Harry Potter series. In this case, the origins of Nagini. The Harry Potter universe has so many little details that never were fully explored or explained, and if you're a diehard fan, these are elements you'd love to go deeper into. We want to hear about Nagini. What about wand lore? This was a craft that was referenced several times, and although we hear little snippets throughout the entire series describing the mystery around it, we never get the full story. They could do a movie about the discovery and mastery of wand lore, and people would watch it, because when you have a universe as vast and popular as the wizarding world, people naturally just want to see more. Tell us more about Snape. Who was his dad? Who was his mom? What was his childhood like? In detail. What about the Marauders? Why did they let Peter Pettigrew hang out with them at all? We want to hear more. We want to see more. Keep it coming. More. The limit does not exist. And if that's true, why wasn't the Fantastic Beasts series more popular? Well, to start, the series was criticized for convoluted plots. Instead of focusing on Newt Scamander and his magical creatures, the film introduces a tangled web of storylines, including Grindelwald's rise to power, Credence's identity, Dumbledore's past, Queenie's defection. These subplots did not mesh well and made the films feel unfocused. Several characters made unexplained choices. Queenie joins Grindelwald despite his anti-Muggle stuff. Credence constantly shifts alliances, and Newt is caught in events beyond his control rather than driving the plot. So with this poor character development and messy plot, audiences complained that the Fantastic Beasts series lacked the charm that made Harry Potter special and failed to capture the magic of the original series. Some critics argue that the Fantastic Beasts films were just a cash grab rather than a meaningful expansion of the wizarding world. So does this mean the franchise is being over-commercialized? Does Fantastic Beasts diminish the Harry Potter legacy by associating it with weaker content? No. If something we love has a flaw, a red flag, a shortcoming, we ignore it. We look past it. Or we make a YouTube channel. Either way, the idea that the Fantastic Beasts movies has any impact on the world of Harry Potter is silly. But does it spoil the idea of future spin-offs? That's a trickier question, because there is no shortage of people who are against remakes and sequels just on principle. But is that because audiences have heard enough? They don't want any new information or details? Or is it because there hasn't been a sequel or a remake that has matched the look, feel, and charm of the original? Let me know if you agree with this. Think of other spin-offs. I think one of the biggest mistakes that was made with The Cursed Child is the choice to take the focus away from Harry, Ron, and Hermione. What's so horrible about growing up that the story can no longer follow your journey? We all know that Harry and Ron grow up to be Aurors, and Hermione becomes Minister of Magic. You can't tell me there are no stories, no adventures that can be imagined under those conditions. Are you kidding? They're no longer kids. They aren't bound by the restrictions of staying in the castle, studying for exams, not upsetting the professors. They could have gone so many directions with that, but instead, they tried to shift the focus to a new generation, and it became a situation where we were just supposed to like them because they were whoever's son or daughter. And let's face it, they were little shits. Now, even in the original series, some characters were rude and bratty, but there was a purpose to the behavior. In modern spin-offs, they seem to skip character development, so there's nothing to help the audience see past the unpleasant personalities, or at least understand them. And now that it's been over 20 years since the original series, I wonder if they will rely on the latest CGI effects to make remakes and sequels bigger, better, and have flashier scenes, instead of putting that energy into developing characters and the story. The first person who recognizes where the charm lied in the original series, what made the characters feel real, what made the idea of magic being real believable, will have an enormous hit on their hands. Let me know what you think. What would it take for a spin-off to be successful in your eyes? Thanks for watching.